Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a review to do for you. So, this is the Kunwu Knives Pulsar. So, I'm a little bit late to the party on this guy. Took me a while to get one. I handle some of their warranty work in the US if people have, smaller issues, things I can take the knife apart for and fix. Tweak a little bit, that kind of stuff. Nothing like crazy major, modding knives type stuff. But so when they came out, I was gonna pick one up on the Kickstarter, but they kind of told me not to, like just, we'll send them to you or whatever. And then it just never happened. So what did happen was I had a couple come in for warranty recently. And then they sent me this one as an extra in case I needed to use it for parts or something for warranty. And then a customer, I guess, sent this one in because he had lock stick. I put a new lock bar in there, and it's pretty much gone at this point. But they ended up telling me just to keep it. So I don't know if they just refunded that guy, sent him a new one. I don't know what happened there. But I ended up with this knife, which is cool. So I finally got one, and I've been carrying it for the last few days. I've taken it apart a bunch of times, you may have seen. And I have a really good handle on this knife. Plus, I've handled it a few times before. I've handled other people's, and then I had a couple in for warranty I got to handle for a little bit. So I think I have a pretty good idea on this knife, and I want to do an overview. I wanted to quickly show you what it comes in. So it comes in this really nice Kunwu box like this. It has the name of the knife, the model number right here. Thank you for putting the actual name of the knife and not just some stupid lettering that you use. It's okay to have both, and then it comes in this, and then you have silica. You get a set of strong springs. Now, the caveat with these is they can rust. It's not a super stainless steel that they used on these. They are developing stainless ones, but for now, they have those. But you can swap to stronger ones. Then you get an extra set of the normal springs, I believe, and you get this little tool. I recommend you do not use this tool. It has a T6 and a T8. But they use a lot of Loctite from the factory. Oh, and then you also get this pouch, which is really interesting and unique, and you get this warranty card. So here's their certificate of authenticity, and I don't know if it is a warranty card. Thank you for purchasing. We hope that you're enjoying this. Certificate guarantees you purchase genuine product. If you have any questions regarding the warranty or additional questions, you reach out to sales@kunwuknives.com. And then you can also share the experience. There's their Instagram and everything, so check that out. But anyway, this all comes nicely packaged in here. And I think it's a nice package that you get with the knife. Some of the models, they give you an extra clip. They give you some stuff, which is nice. The springs is very important, I think. On a crossbar lock knife, it's important to have extra springs. And the fact that they give you options on the springs is really nice as well. And if you watch my spring swap on this, you'll see it's not that difficult. Once you get it down, which at this point I've done it a couple times, on this specific knife, I've done a bunch of their locks, but now that I have a really good handle on it, it's very simple. You literally just take this screw out and remove this. It's just a lot of pieces, right? So you take this plate off, put it down with the screw, you take out T6, T6, T8, T6, remove all that, and that'll pop this carbon fiber or titanium scale off. Then there's a liner underneath. The spring is in that liner. So you just pop the spring out, and then there's a little disc on the inside of this, and that's what the spring hooks to. So if you say you broke a spring, if you just happen to break this one, nice. Then you just swap that spring out, put everything back together, and you'd be good to go, right? If you wanted to swap both out or you broke this one, you have to take the knife fully apart at this point. So you take that liner off, boom. You take that little disc off, boom. Then you can take the bearings, the blade, the stop pin, all of that off. And then you have to actually remove this screw and this plate, all of this stuff, so that this scale can come off. And now you can get to the liner under this where the other spring is. And unlike a Benchmade or something where it's very hard to get the blade back on and everything if you take the knife fully apart, at least I haven't taken one apart in a long time, but I think it's really hard. On this, you can just put the spring in on this side, right? Then kind of put the liner back into this scale, put this piece back on with the bar on it, right? And then you can use this to just pull down, right? And it's so easy. You just pull down on it, and then you can slot the blade back on, and you can start getting everything back together. It's really not that difficult once you understand. It's just a lot of steps and a lot of pieces. Anyway, I just wanted to explain that so people aren't too afraid of it. I have a bunch of videos taking apart their knives, but specifically a spring swap video on this knife, so you can watch that if you want. So anyway, price point, man, I should have looked it up because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they were somewhere around the 200 mark. It is LMAX, and then the thing is, there's different options. Let me open up my laptop here, actually, just so I'm not doing the thing where I don't know. Some people give me shit for that. While we're pulling that up, I do want to mention that I do now have an affiliate link for Kunwu knives. So if you want to pick up any of their products from their website, go over to the description for this video, and there's going to be a link for Kunwu knives. That will help the channel if you use it. Unfortunately, there's no discount at this point, but if you're going to buy something anyway, it would help the channel. I'd appreciate it. You don't have to do it, though. I will also link Blade HQ because Blade HQ is now an authorized dealer for Kunwu knives, which is really cool. I think it was Blade HQ, right? Or was it Knife Center? I think it was Blade HQ. Let me pull them up. And we'll see what they have in stock, if anything. Yeah, so they have Kunwu knives in stock right now. They have the Mini Tau. They have the Orion 2 and LMAX. They have the Zen Compact. They have the Tau Compact. They have the Big Tau. The X Tau is sold out, actually. And the Zen full size is sold out. So they have the other ones I named. And, I mean, they're all relatively well priced for the materials you get, right around $200. They don't have any Pulsars. I know they're working on another batch soon. Right now, they're finishing up or starting on the Tau S, the S Tau and Vanex. They did another run of those. So for pricing, you have this diamond textured one with LMAX steel is $239 on their website at the moment. It's sold out. Then you have this without the diamond texture, and it's $229 sold out. So $10 extra for this diamond pattern on it. The one that I have here is in carbon fiber. This is probably my favorite one. This one is $219 and sold out. Then we have a couple that are not sold out. You have the red Damascus and you have a blue Damascus. Those are $179. I think that's a good price for what you're getting. And we'll talk about what you're getting in a second. And then they're sold out of the camo G10 one. That was $179 as well, which had a black blade, which is the only one that had a black blade. I am waiting for them to come out with this version with a black blade. That would be absolutely sexy. So I'm hoping they do that and I can pick one up. I'd also love to see some fat carbon or something like that, but who knows what they'll do. But I love that they have options. I mean, you have all the way from $179 to, what did I say, $239. And you have Damascus up to a diamond textured titanium. That's pretty good range. And like I said, the Damascus ones are available at the time I'm filming this. Can't say they will be when this video posts, but definitely follow that link and take a look. I think it's worth picking up in Damascus if that's what you can get. I honestly think Damascus is pretty cool. I'm not a big G10 fan, but that red, blue, the cool Damascus does it for me for some reason. All right, so we've talked about price and availability, right? So we got that stuff out of the way. So I can, well, you guys want the, I might as well. I have the specs right here, I think. I'm not going to go off of Blade HQ. I'm going to go off of their website. So we'll look at one here that is open, and we'll look at one here that is closed, okay? So the overall length is 7.59 inches. The blade length is 3.34 inches. The blade thickness is 3.1 millimeters or 0.12 inches. The blade material is LMAX, 60 to 62 HRC. You do have a saber grind, flat grind right here. Comes down to a pretty thin edge. They do a great job with their edges, and usually with their heat treat, they're probably sitting right around 61 on this, and they do a good job with it. They call this a satin, so it's a machined satin. Let me make sure they're both the same. And yep, they look the same. So you have a machined satin, which basically means it's CNC finished satin. It's why it doesn't have like defined belt satin lines like you'll see on some knives, like say this here has really nice grind lines right there. That is from a belt, and that's basically hand done as I understand it. This is machine ground CNC, which is cheaper, so it makes it, you know, a little more affordable. You have the titanium diamond texture, blah, blah, blah. Weight, 4.51 ounces on this titanium version. And then obviously we have the XT lock. So let's go over the weight on the carbon fiber. This carbon fiber guy right here is 3.6 ounces. So you're saving a good amount of weight. And personally, I really, really enjoy this carbon fiber one. I'm a big carbon fiber fan. If you made me choose between titanium and carbon fiber, it would be a fight to the death. And, you know, it really comes down to the knife, you know. A lot of knives, I just prefer the carbon fiber, like, you know, the F5.5 here. I have this titanium one, but I used to have a carbon fiber one, which I regret letting go. And I would probably take the carbon fiber over the titanium just because of that weight relief. The Arcane Design Praetheon right here. I love this carbon fiber version. It just, to me, was a better choice than the titanium one I had before because of that weight relief. And then it looks cool, you know? So there's obviously going to be exceptions to every rule. And so I can't sit here and say I always like carbon fiber better, but given the option, I'm more likely to go with carbon fiber, all right? So, all right, we've knocked out specs, we've knocked out pricing, we've knocked out a lot of stuff here, guys. Let's get into the review portion of this. And aesthetically, I think this is a really good looking knife. It does have some similarities to me, like in my head, I mean, to our knife, the Growler. So if you look at the Growler and you look at the Pulsar, definitely got some similarities there. But you have, it's kind of like where this one turns and kind of clips this way. This one turns and clips down. You have the coat hanger right there. And then we have more of a 50-50 choil here and more of a full-size choil in the blade here. So you're going to get a little more cutting edge, I assume, up on this guy. But, I mean, size-wise, height-wise, a lot of stuff is very similar here. And obviously, I like this design because, you know, Colin and I designed it. So you could see why I enjoy this knife. So I think aesthetically it's a good looking knife. I really like the shape of the hull. As much as I'm not like the biggest crossbar lock fan, I do really like the way that they do these little tabs. They're very easy to grab. They look cool because they're made out of titanium, you know. The downside to them is it does kind of make the knife thick, right? I mean, you got to have a little bit of girth here to have these big old tabs on there. So that's a downside. What else are we looking at? Jimping, I do wish, I actually just sent my thoughts on this to Sergio. He's, you know, the guy that I talk to mainly behind Kunwu Knives, and I really like Sergio. He's a great dude. And I was like, hey, I've finally gotten to carry one of these for a while, and I wanted to give you my thoughts. And basically what I said was I absolutely love this design. I love the knife. you know, here's some of the things I would change. So these are my nitpicks, essentially. I would like the knife to be slightly thinner, you know, if I had my druthers. Is it bad? No. It's fantastic in the hand. It really is. It's a good thickness. It works. You know what I mean? But if you measure it, it's going to be a pretty chunky boy, is my guess. 0.52, right? It's actually thinner than expected, but I'd like to see that closer to 0.5, you know? Then I was thinking it'd be nice if we had some Vox-style jimping up here. So you have this patch right here. Let's do another patch right here, right? That's something that I am trying to get added to some of our knives as we go into production on things. So again, it's just something I'm looking out for. And I really do think that'd be a good spot to have a little bit of jimping. Does it need it? No. Is it like a make or break thing? No, it's just like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if there was something here, you know? What else? There's a slight rattle when you tap this guy. What I think that is the spring in there just kind of bouncing off of one liner and hitting the other or something. Now, ironically, this one hasn't been taken apart by anybody because it's brand new. It's just sitting in the box waiting in case I need it. And it doesn't have it, right? So I don't know if maybe two things I'm wondering. Is the titanium one, does it not have that? Or is it just because, you know, nobody's taken this apart? You know, or is it because this one has the strong springs, it's carbon fiber? I don't know. I did ask a couple of people if they had experienced the rattle, and they said yes. So I think it's a thing. And is it the end of the world? No, but it does, in my opinion, make the knife feel cheaper. It's just a mental thing. You hear that and you're like, ooh, that kind of feels cheap, right? So I don't know if it's universal. It seems like it might be there more than not, but I want to mention that. What else? Obviously, I'd love to see a belt satin on here or something. Maybe even a stonewash. I'm not a big stonewash guy. Normally, I'd take a satin over a stonewash, but I'm not a huge fan of these machined satins. They just don't look as nice as even like belt satin or a stonewash, you know. I'd also love for this to be a hollow grind. This is super thin, slicey blade. They did a fantastic job. It's, I guess, in a lot of ways, kind of like the growler I showed you, where this is a flat grind, and it's such a tall blade that it ends up being super slicey, right? And it's kind of a similar case here. So again, not necessary, just something I would like to see. I'm not saying any of these are like deal breakers. I love this knife, spoiler alert. And then what else? The clip. So let's talk about the clip for a second. It carries very well. I carry this in my front left pocket for a few days now. I will say that the clip slowly bent out. So today, actually, when I was done work, I took it out of my pocket and I noticed it was just touching the scale, and it was a tapper. It had become a tapper where you can see out of the box, it's nice and tight, right? It had become a tapper. And that's because it's a very sort of flimsy titanium clip. It's not very thick, so the retention, while good, is not, I don't know how to explain it. It's just not thick material, so sitting in my pocket, it kind of slowly just like bent it out, I guess. I wear off-the-grid pants, and they have this double-stitched corner on the pocket, literally for knives. They're made for knives so that your knives don't rip your pants, because that's all that would happen to my jeans. I'd have to buy new jeans because my knives would just tear the pockets up. So they are a little bit thicker, but I mean, I don't have problems with really just any normal knife. They fit right into that pocket. So it's not like they're overly thick, but it did bend out this clip slightly. I've had that happen before on a Vero. Actually, this knife right here, the original clip had bent out from those pants as well. And then what I do is I just mount it backwards and then I bend it down, and it'll be, now it's like, you know, super tight, and it doesn't happen again. I did the same thing here after work. I took the clip off, I mounted it facing backwards, and obviously screwed it down, and then you have leverage. So then I cranked it down pretty far. So now it's like really tight, and it should not happen again, but we'll see. But, you know, I'd say the clip is slightly flimsy. Again, not a deal breaker. I actually quite like the clip, but just something to note. And then it does come up, and it doesn't plateau. And so what happens is in your hand, you actually feel that corner. If I bear down like this, I'm getting stabbed right now by that clip. You can see it leaving a mark in my hand. Again, end of the world? No. If I hold it like this, I don't even feel it. But if I choke up, then it kind of becomes a thing. I don't know. It's just in some grips, you feel that clip. And it should have some kind of a plateau or something. I know that on some of their models, they went to the wire clip. You know, that could work here. But I do actually quite like this clip design. I love the Kunwu K in there. It looks really cool. And then the last thing is this filler tab. When you reverse it, it does not fit. So it fits, but you'll see it actually sticks out of the handle. Let me zoom in. So you see how it sticks out right there? It does not fit flush in the scale on this left side. If you have it normal, like righty, it fits perfect. So, again, that's kind of a problem for just a few people, us lefties. And honestly, I've reversed it, and yes, I notice it, but I honestly haven't really thought about it twice since, like, it has never come up where I've been like, damn, I wish that was flush. You know what I mean? I did talk to a friend that mods knives, and I was like, could you just, like, grind that down until it fits flush? And he's like, yeah. So, you know, I could have that done. Or I believe Kunwu Knives, if you check out their Facebook group, which is something else I should mention, they have a Facebook group now, and it's really cool. It's very fun. It's active. I would say it's a very enjoyable Facebook group. It's one of the few that I actually kind of go in. I'm not a big Facebook guy, but I enjoy that group. So check it out. And in there was a post about it, and they said they were going to make new filler tabs for lefties. I don't know where they're at with that or anything. I'm just saying I believe they're going to make them. So keep an eye out for that, or reach out to them at sales@kunwuknives.com if, you know, you want to get one or whatever. But I got to say, it's really not a big deal, but obviously, you know, you spend $230 if you bought the knife. Like I said, I didn't pay for this one, so grain of salt. Maybe that's part of the reason I'm not so worried about it. You know, mentally, it's a thing, right? But if you paid $239 or $250 for this or whatever it was, and that didn't fit flush if you're lefty, I totally would understand why you'd be like, damn, that sucks, you know? But it's not a deal breaker for me in any way. So those are some of my nitpicks on the knife. And again, they really are all sort of nitpicks. Are any of them really like big enough deals for me? Not really. I mean, the tappy thing is the most annoying because I'll like take it out and I'll hear this, and it just drives me insane. I've tried tightening these, loosening and tightening them. I've tried a few things. Took it apart again and made sure all the springs were in right and all that, and it didn't change anything. One other thing to note is the centering on this particular one is just slightly off to that clip side over there. It's got my OCD a little bit bothered. Like, it should be right there. You know, it should be like right there, but it comes over just a little bit. You can see perfect centering right here. That one is perfectly centered. This one is not. Is it the end of the world? Again, no. And this was not a brand new out of the box knife. Like, you know, it was a knife that was kind of given to me after the fact, you know, so I'm not worried about it. I just want to point it out. And it does kind of trigger my OCD a little bit. But I'm trying to get over it because I love this knife so much. And now, let's get into the things I absolutely love about this knife. So, first, the fact that they offer different springs is really cool. That's something we've really needed for a while when it comes to these crossbar locks. And, you know, as we all know, they did the X-Tau, which was the Tau model with the with this lock, and they only had a super weak spring in there, and it was a killer for me and a lot of people. Now, some people didn't mind at all. They liked it, right? Because detent is a very subjective thing. So, that, you know, but the fact that it is subjective and you can do a stronger one and a weaker one, you should, right? And that's what they're doing. So similar to what Kaiser does with the clutch lock, which is I would say on another level, because they offer a system where you can set the spring to 4 or 5 different tensions, and then they offer a weak and a strong set. So you can go from, you basically have like 10 different options that you can go with. Technically, if you wanted to, you know, like combine different springs in there, you could go even harder. Right now, I have this as strong as it gets. Strong springs at the strongest tension, and it legit feels like a detent. Like a real detent. I feel like a real boy. And it's fantastic. Does this one have the... If you tap the lock, it rattles, but otherwise it doesn't. This one, you know. Now, I do want to note that I did have the strong springs in here, and they worked great. And once I had that rattle, I was like, you know what? Let me try to swap out the springs, and I put in some of the Kaiser springs. So I put in the stronger version springs from Kaiser because they sent me a batch of them. So I put those springs in here. This detent still feels a little stronger than this, and that's probably because you can set the tension. But this is like the perfect spring in here. So it's very close to the spring they had in here, the strong one, but I think it's like just a touch weaker. And it makes it to where it's like the perfect reverse flick. Like you can see, I'm not even like flicking. I'm just driving it and then letting it flick, and it fires. Like it's just got this perfect, the way it rounds out of the detent sort of thing is really good on this. And I can do the thumb a little bit better. With the strong springs from Kunwu, I had trouble with the thumb. Like I would kind of do this a lot or fail it. With these, I can kind of just fire it. I don't know what the difference is. I think a lot of it is probably just me and getting used to it. So I think if you put the strong springs in here, you'd probably be just fine. Or if you like the weaker ones, that's fine too, right? You can deploy this knife in many different ways. You have the thumb hole for a thumb roll. I like the shape of this thumb hole. It really just catches your finger well without having to be sharp. You know, it doesn't have sharp edges anywhere, but it pops out. I call it a clothes hanger design. So I actually I found myself doing this a lot. So left-handed, I would do the thumb roll like this. And then right-handed, I do the thumb flick like this. I can do, you know, the other with each one, but I just tend to prefer this over here and this over here. And then left-handed, obviously, I love the reverse flick. One of the best crossbar lock reverse flicks there is. I mean, I'm trying to think of another one that's good. The drop bear is okay. It's pretty good, especially with the spring the way it is. But it's a thumb stud, which makes it kind of tough. You have to get under it, and then it works, right? But I much rather thumb flick this model. You also kind of have to get in a certain grip, and I don't know. It's fine, you know. But I'd much rather have a hole, you know what I mean? Also, here, if you want a size comparison, the Pulsar is a little bit bigger than the Drop Bear, so probably 1/4 of an inch, something like that. This is probably closer to, 3.1, something like that. So, yeah, the reverse flick is just, oh, man, it's honestly addicting. I really enjoy it. I have no play, no up and down on this, and zoink. I did put skiffs in here. I did it separately, not in that video. But you can put in 6mm 1/16 16-ball multi-row bearings, actually. I think they would break in okay. I ended up taking them out because the centering I couldn't get right. But I'm pretty sure that that's just the knife because it's still off-center. So I don't think the bearings affected that at all. So, yeah, they fit. I mean, I definitely got it back together. The action worked, all that stuff. I was just struggling with the centering, and so I swapped back. But again, still off center by... I mean, it's very, very minimal, guys. It's just enough for me to get my OCD going. So you can skip this up. You could use 6mm 1/16, I think 13 ball, which is the single row. Or you can go for the 16-ball double rows. They both fit. This comes with very good bearings. They are Teflon caged 6mm 1/16 bearings, I think, in a crossbar lock knife that is perfectly fine. I mean, they're fantastic in general, honestly. That's like what comes in your Renegade God of Mischief. That's what comes in your Arcform Slimfoot. That's what comes in, I mean, it's a bunch of stuff. A lot of the Kunwu stuff. So it's not unheard of. That size, I believe they also are what, yes, they are what come in your Brian Brown Jaeger M. So they're very good bearings. And as you can see, I pull the bar, it drops down. I mean, I don't know what else you want. I honestly was trying to get it tighter so that it would kind of, like, I would have to swing it a little bit instead of it just, doing the bounce. But I mean, I have nothing. There's no play in here, and it's doing that. So, imagine multi-row or whatever once they broke in. So, the action is absolutely wonderful on this knife. And again, you can tune it however you want. If you want weaker springs, then you can go to this setup because this is stock. It comes with the weaker ones. And I wouldn't say they're necessarily like weak for a crossbar lock. I think they're good. Honestly, it might be better because you don't have to overcome the tension coming out of here. You can just flick. So, it's all personal preference. I honestly don't have much of an issue with the stock springs on this knife. They work very well. And a lot of people will probably agree with that and say they prefer it with the stock ones. You can see I have no issue here. And it's bouncing down like that. Is there any play? I mean, I really have to wrench on it to get it. And I'm sure I could just tighten it right up. And we are dead nut centered. So, however you want to tune this bad boy is up to you. But I would say it's awesome either way. I think that pretty much... Does that cover the knife, guys? Have I beaten a dead horse here? What's the takeaway here? The takeaway is this knife is fantastic if you can get it. They're doing another run very soon, so they will be available again. I will be posting about it when that happens. If you want one right now, you might be able to get one in the Gmascus. Link down below. Go check it out. Is it worth what they're asking? $179 to $240. Hell yes, it's worth that. The heat treat, the grind, they're one of the only companies I know in China that truly focus on and care about what the consumer wants when it comes to blade steel, heat treat, thickness behind the edge, grinds, all of that stuff. They actually care, right? They show you heat treat. They'll show you punches at the factory. Follow them on Instagram or in their Facebook group. They're one of the first companies to be bringing Vanex to people, you know. So I think they're a really cool company to follow. And I think their price point for what you get and the fact that you're getting that optimal type stuff when it comes to the blade steels and everything, it's worth it, you know. They've always been a value. If you follow them and get in on their Kickstarters, it's even more of a value. I mean, some of them are pretty amazing. Like, I remember I got the towel, the original big towel, for $134 in full titanium with M390. And it's like, what? So, yeah. I'd say they're cool. They're a good company, but I am a bit biased, so keep that in mind. Anyway, shout out to Sergio. Shout out to Kunwu. Thank you for letting me hang on to this guy. I really enjoy it. I love the carbon fiber. Can't wait for a sort of blackout version of this. That's going to be freaking sweet. And whatever else you come up with in this next batch. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions down below. Again, link is down there if you want to use it. I'll also link, like I said, Blade HQ, who has their other knives. And I believe Kunwu does have some other knives in stock on their website. I highly recommend the Tau Compact. That was probably my favorite Kunwu until I got this one. It's still neck and neck probably. But they have a lot of cool models. So they have something for everybody, right? If you're the guy who wants the fidget options and wants a million options, go for the Zen, right? If you want like a really good frame lock, front flipper or flipper, go for the Tau, right? It comes in 3 sizes. Technically 4 if you count the X-Lock version. You know, if you prefer a crossbar lock, I don't want my hands in the path, go for the X-Lock versions of whatever, the Pulsar or the Tau. If you really care about heat treat and grinds and all of that stuff, you should be paying attention to this company, you know? So, yeah. There you go. That's it. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.